Okay, what's up guys? So I'm gonna take you through my workflow for editing photos, and we're gonna hop into Lightroom and we'll go from there. You can follow along, okay? So I'm gonna start my screen recording. There we go. And we'll make Lightroom larger. So this was 86. Okay, so here we go. I'm just gonna reset everything so that way you guys can see my process. Okay, so this is an image that is just been imported into Lightroom, and what I need to do is go to the Adobe color right here. I'll click on that and then I'll go to browse and I'll load my camera profile. So I like the gym camera profile and I'll do that. So now I have a color profile created for my camera, so that way the colors are accurate, okay? And here is a before and an after with the color profile. So you see everything is much more vibrant, okay? Before, after, okay. So now that we're in here, I'll go down and I'll remove chromatic aberrations, edit profile correction, and it automatically fill that out for me, okay? Next step, I might align, do an auto align right here, and that'll just straighten out the picture. From there, I'll look at the crop and see if I want to adjust anything, and this looks pretty good already, so we'll leave that crop right there as is, okay? So now we get to working. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start masking. I'm gonna select subject, and AI takes care of all that, and I'll brighten her up a little bit, like so. Okay, like that, and then I'll right click and I'll duplicate and invert the mask, and then I selected the background and I'll bring the exposure down on the background just a little bit, so that way she pops out. Okay, so now we have a before and an after, so she's standing out a lot more. Okay, and from here I can decide to make changes, so we can adjust her eyes. So we'll go back into masking, I'll select a new brush, and then I have a preset, so I go into custom and I'll scroll down to eye pop, brown eyes or light eyes. She has brown, so I'll choose brown. And then when I'm doing flow eyes, I want to make sure the flow is at 50, okay? And I'm just gonna color that in like so. There we go. And I'm gonna back out and I'm gonna cycle it off and on so I can see if it looks a little weird, because if you do too much it'll look like she has vampire eyes. But I found that at flow 50, like, it's usually really good. If it was too much, I would just bring down the amount right here and adjust it that way. Okay, so we'll keep that at 100 because it looks good. Next, I can go in here and I can adjust the whites of her eyes. So I'll select another brush and then we'll scroll down to eye whitening. Okay, and you have to remember that the eye is a 3D shape, it's not two-dimensional, so you don't want to whiten the entire part of the eye. So you want to leave the edges right here and right here out of it. Okay, so we'll color that in like that, leaving the edges. Boom. For this one, I'll increase my flow to 100%. And right now I have auto mask on, so the computer is not going to let me color outside of the lines, okay? If that was off, I would have to be a little bit more careful when putting in these parts. So like that, and then we'll brighten up over here like that, and then over here so. And then we can see before and after how the eyes really pop out now. And if you're too close, sometimes you can't really see, so you gotta zoom out and in quite a bit, and you can see without so her eyes just pop and it comes to life a little bit more. Okay, and then I can go back in there and look over the photo. So all the fine tuning I'll probably do afterwards. So I'm gonna take this photo into Photoshop, and from there I'll fix the skin, and then I'll bring it back into Lightroom, and I'll make all my final adjustments that way. So edit in Photoshop, and that'll take it over. So there we go. Now we're in Photoshop. I'll hit Command 0 to make it fit the screen. And I'm gonna create a duplicate layer, Command J. And then I'm gonna go to my healing tool. Your shortcut is J. And I'm gonna come up to the face. And now I'm looking for any imperfections on the face, and I'm gonna start cleaning that up, okay? So boom. And if there's any marks on the face that are very that belong there, I wouldn't take it away, because you're taking away from the person. Okay, so just little pimples and stuff like that I'll take away, and moles I'll probably leave. Her skin is pretty clear. I'll clear up this piece of hair right here. It's a little bit distracting, like that. Boom. Okay, looking for anything. The cleaner I get the skin, once I do the skin smoothing, the less imperfections there will be. So I create a duplicate layer in case I make any marks that I don't want. I can just adjust it from there, and it's non-destructive. I'll zoom out, look at her clothes. Zoom into her clothes, pressing spacebar, then it gives me the hand tool, and I can drag around, looking for any imperfections on the clothing. Clear those up. On the ball, boom, boom, boom. And you can take as much time as you want doing these small minor things. It's just gonna make your photo better, but don't get lost in the sauce where you're overdoing it, over editing. Okay, and then good, hit Command 0, boom, that looks good. Now I have an action in here, so we'll scroll down to the skin portion, and this photo is 16-bit, so I'll click on the skin portrait 16-bit, hit play. That'll start loading over in this area right here. And what this is frequency separation. So I'll open it up, I'll go to the smooth skin, I'll hit B on the keyboard for my brush, and then you'll notice that right here the mask is black, so you want to make sure that on your paint you're in white, so you're doing the opposite. Okay, otherwise if it was black on black, nothing would happen. And then I'm going to start coloring her skin, and you want to avoid any sharp lines, eyes, eyebrows, stuff like that on her face, because you don't want to soften it. Okay, so any dimples or anything you want to avoid. And it looks like it's not doing anything. I always like to keep my flow at 80, like that. So I'll hit Command Z, and then crap, I'll hit okay. So now we're fresh again. So now I have my brush tool, flow is at 80, and I'll start coloring it in. Sometimes if the flow is at 100, it's a little too overwhelming and the skin starts to look plastic like, so I don't like that. Now if she had any bags under her eyes, which she doesn't, I would use the layer above, because that only affects texture, and I would adjust it that way, either using like a patch tool or a healing brush. Okay, now sometimes when you're in the shadow areas, it gets a little muddy. So I try to avoid shadows, just like I'll avoid the dimples and that stuff, okay? And we can bring this down a little smaller, color in here under the eyes, smoothing that all out. And it doesn't look like it's doing much, but I'll show you what it did. So I hit Command 0, and then I will turn this layer off, and you can see it just fills in the face, gives it a more smoother look to it, okay? Once I'm done with that, I'll merge down the layer like that. And now that's my color layer, and then I have my detail, which is my texture layer. Now if there were any mismatched colors on the face, I could use my mixer brush and then I can blend those colors in, but she has a very evenly colored face, so I don't even have to do anything with the mixer brush. So this is a really simple photo to edit, and once I see that that's good, I'll hit Command S and then Command Tab to go back into Lightroom. It'll re-import it back into Lightroom, and you can see the before and the after, okay? So now we're cooking, just like that. So now I'm gonna go in and make all my finer touches, okay? So we already did the iris and we did the eye white, so now we'll just make everything else pop. So I'll go in, I'll grab a brush tool, and then I'm gonna look for my punch brush, and I'm gonna start making the colors pop, okay? So we'll hit the ball like this, and we're just filling in the reds on the ball, adding a little bit more detail to everything, making everything pop. And my auto mask feature is on, so I don't have to worry too much about coloring outside the lines. And here's before, after with the pop. I'll also hit that on her close, like that. Boom, hit the number right here. And her number is a little dark, so I might want to brighten that up. I'm not sure yet. Come down, hit the pants, like that. Hit the top right here. Fill all that in. And then her ring, we want that to stand out a little, so we'll hit it with a little bit of punch, okay? And then we might just brighten it up a little. So here we have before, after, and then let's see. I might do it, might not do it. I'll get me a radial gradient, and then I'll make a circle around here, like that. And then I'll brighten up the ring a little so it stands out. So we got that. And always look what the before and after looks like, and look at it at different zoomed in. Yeah, so we got a little pop there. Now her face is a little dark, so let's add a little bit, another radial gradient over the face, like so. That way we are drawn in to the brightest part of the image, which is her face, and we'll do some slight adjustments to that, bringing that up. And then we have before, after, before, after. And we'll bring that down just a little bit. So, and then we can come over here to see where we have any blown out highlights or we have any crushed blacks. So I'm okay with the blacks because you can see the blue on the screen right here, and I don't need information there. And right here you can see it's blown out a little, but I'm satisfied with that. Everything else is within the lines of the image. And then I'll come over here to my presets, and I'm thinking I'm going to use a gradient on there, so I just need to find that. We'll close that down. And then I want to draw more attention to her, okay? So let's see, local adjustments, yeah. And then we'll do a gradient burn top left right here. So boom, and if I hit Shift M, it brings it up over here, and I can adjust that gradient where I want it to. So It's on her face a little. I can bring it off. I can adjust it, rotate it like that. So that way we're creating a darker part leading towards her face. So we're leading the viewer to her face, okay? And I think that this photo is complete. Super simple, super easy. It's not always this easy, but you see my process, okay? And then since we have that, what I might do is I might hit Command apostrophe like that to duplicate it, and I might just change this one to black and white like that, okay? Or I can just use a preset like this one, and then I can just bring up the midtones a little like that, and we have another amazing photo. The skin is retouched and everything looks good. So we have boom 1 and boom 2, and then this was our original photo. So we have before and we have after. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I hope you learned a little something, okay? I'll be doing more videos like this in the future so you can see my workflow and my processes and hopefully help improve your craft. So thank you.